of the people, 90.3 FM. My name is Ijeoma Innocent, and these are the top stories. SDP presidential candidate says it is too early to cry over fuel price hike. Supreme Court judge denies alleged phone conversation with President Tinubu over election tribunal results. Group says DSS continuous disregard to court orders may ruin President Tinubu's administration. And the Colleges of Education Lecturers Union directs members to work 2 days a week over rising fuel prices. On the foreign scene, Russia strikes Ukraine grain after ending sea deal. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The World News at 6 begins with the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, in this year's general elections, Prince Adewale Adebayo, saying it is too early to decry the policies of President Bola Tinubu's administration. He spoke on Arise television today while reacting to the present economic crisis occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy, which has imposed hardship on Nigerians. Reacting to the uproar generated by the hike, Adewale declared that President Tinubu is yet to unfold his own policies, which could bring about more complications. He said some of the measures the president is currently taking are just based on what he met on ground, stressing that President Tinubu's policies are yet to come. Let's take a listen to him.
This is the consequence of the vote you voted. And it's too early to cry now because actually the real come. But when these problems come, we should solve them as a country. We should not see as a potential of politics. President Tinubu is taking certain measures, which are legacy measures of what he met on the ground. His own policies have not come out. When they come out, you will see that there are complications there because you have to run an economy. It is one thing to win. You can be an expert in winning election, but you have to be an expert in running a government. And I haven't seen that expertise yet. Maybe when their cabinet comes out and they start to think. I haven't seen the sign of a thinking government yet.
Meanwhile, to mitigate the harsh economic effects of sustained increases in the price of petrol, the federal government is already considering an upward review of workers' wages. Senate President Godswill Akpabio gave the assurance on Tuesday while receiving the Ekiti State Governor Abiodun Oyebanji, who paid him a courtesy visit at the National Assembly. Senate President Akpabio also noted that the removal of fuel subsidy by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration was to address corruption in the petroleum sector. He said the removal of fuel subsidy was the beginning of fighting corruption in the system. He also noted that Nigeria as a country would not have survived the next few years if the fuel subsidy had not been removed. He assured that salaries and wages of workers would be reviewed in order to ensure that Nigerians have a living wage. In the meantime, the Supreme Court of Nigeria has clarified that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN Justice Olukayode Ariwola, had no telephone conversation with anyone, including President Bola Tinubu, about the ongoing presidential election petition on the 2023 elections. The Apex Court said Justice Ariwola neither spoke with the President nor the Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, with a view to pressurizing the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal over the judgment. The Director of Press and Information of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, Dr. Akonde Festus, made the clarification in a statement issued today in Abuja. The statement explained that it is imperative to state clearly that there is no iota of truth in the narrative, as there was no such telephone conversation between the CJN and anyone. Now joining me to discuss this and other issues on the World News at 6 this evening, I have Mr. Awa Omiko of the Sunday Editorial Desk. Good evening, Mr. Omiko.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's always great to hear from you. Thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
Yes, now, Mr. Omiko, I'd like to begin from the very first, issue that was addressed in the news bulletin this evening. The Social Democratic Party, SDP's presidential candidate in this year's election, Prince Adewale Adebayo, said it is too early to cry. In his words, this is what Nigerians are going through or enjoying what they voted for, but it is too early to cry, as there will still be more problems coming up. But when those problems come, he's saying that the president should have policies policies that will be able to mitigate any problems that might come up. I would like to quickly get your take on that, because now the Senate President is saying that the President will review workers' wage. There was also a report yesterday that the 8,000 naira palliative to 12 million Nigerians may be scrapped. And while instead the presidency or the administration would increase wages of civil servants instead. What is your take on that, sir?
As I've been saying, and I'll keep on saying, is that we are not learning from history, and we seem not to be involved in economic of development. Our knowledge of developmental economics is highly, very, very low. What is the essence of increasing salary? What? How many times will UK increase salary of workers? Although our economy cannot be said to be totally free, because we have an underhand of these European powers. But it's not. We are still going to run into inflation. Try to make sure you reduce the inflation by creating palliative within the economy. Make food resources abundant. Open the borders, let it be free. Let it be free within the West African countries. Encourage production. Encourage production. And encourage small scale. Put on palliative. Now, let's go back to our laws. The ease of business. Let us go back to our laws. And we make sure that we tighten the loose knots and screws that will make business owners to go through hell before they can survive. Doing business in Nigeria is not easy. Most people are crying and folding up. So we should make sure that the level of production is high. Local production is high. It is not by increasing salary. If you like increase, let the poorest of the poor earn 1 million naira. It is still not enough, because the food is expensive, housing rents are expensive, transport are expensive, all those things. But if you bring down, make a palliative, let there be light, let there be power, let there be resources, let allow the people, industries to flow on their own and run on their own without closing down, you see life coming up again. If Mr. President decides to pay all Nigerian workers for 1 million, it's not going to solve the issue. House rent, electricity, security, food, all those things are expensive. I don't agree or fall into the school of thought that believes that salary should increase. Instead, make local purchases cheaper, and things will be better. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Omiko. Now, moving on to the main issue for in the bulletin this evening. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has come out, to deny allegations that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, that is Justice Olukayode Ariwola, that he had a telephone conversation, with the president about the ongoing presidential election petition tribunal on the 2023 election. We do know that the tribunal has been on for a few weeks now, heading into months, and it is being contested. The Labour Party, the PDP, the APC are contesting who really won the 2023 elections. If indeed, nothing like this happened, and the Apex Court is coming out to say that nothing like this happened. In fact, the Director of Press and Information for the Apex Court came out to say that nothing like this has happened. He cited that the rule of law and the supremacy of the Nigerian Constitution will always be upheld and applied in every matter, no matter who is involved. And he has also asked the public to rest assured that justice will be done in this case. Now, would I say the body language of the judiciary so far, does it really show this, that justice will be done in this case? Now they've come out to deny the allegations of a phone call between, if it was, a friendly phone call, even if they did not talk about the judiciary, it's this making its way into the news.
What friendly is a friendly phone call? An African adage says, the witch cried in the night and the child dies in the morning, and you say it's a friendly phone call. Why must it be a friendly phone call during this crisis? What else do you expect the judiciary to say or do? They will actually deny it. But at the end of the day, when investigation is properly done, you will see that it will actually be the truth. How about those that traveled, that we think went to visit him in Europe? Don't they know that the discussion was ongoing? So you can't rule out that. What is the judiciary can never come out with the truth because they are not independent. Okay, how about the palliative, increasing their palliative to 50 billion? How many are the people? How many are the workers in the judiciary? Out of the so said amount that the Mr. President had wanted, how about the 37 billion? What are they for? So all these things are the largesse that will enable them to slant, to twist their pendulum towards the side of Mr. President. And mind you, the judiciary is never independent in Nigeria. The judiciary are like taxi drivers. Whoever plays the game better, they fall onto that. The judiciary has never in Nigeria been said to be the type to be proactive. They've been so docile. And that is why we are still having all this. Look at the way they've been rigmaroling the law, and lawyers coming. Look at the way the whole thing fast has been going on, and yet you say you still want the best from the judiciary. They have lost that axiom of being the last resort of the poor man. No way. They are the last resort of the richest of the rich in Nigeria, and I don't even expect otherwise. If they come out to give President Tinubu a clean slate by tomorrow.
Now, Mr. Omiko, you know that this is coming on the heels of the reports that President Bola Tinubu warned members of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal that removing him as president could lead to a breakdown of law and order. It could lead to anarchy in the country. If we heard that yesterday or the day before, and then this is what is following closely, saying, "Oh, if you remove me, there will be anarchy." We know that no matter what goes on at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, this might still go on to the Supreme Court has the final say in this situation. After saying, if you remove me, if you nullify my election, it could lead to a breakdown of law and order. It could lead to anarchy in the country. And then next, we're hearing this report of a conversation with the president, that they really had a conversation like this. If indeed there was no conversation, or really, is this something you see happening after the president has said, look, if you remove me, there will be anarchy in the country? I'd like to hear from you, Mr. Omiko, on this. Are you with me, Mr. Omiko, sir? Are you with me, sir? All right. I think we lost Mr. Omiko on there. We'll try to reach him one more time. Unfortunately, we lost Mr. Awa Omiko there due to a network issue, and we haven't been able to reach him. Now, moving on the world news at 6 this evening, elsewhere, the Concerned North Forum, CNF, today made a strong appeal to President Bola Tinubu to do something quickly about the continual disregard to court orders by the leadership of the Department of State Services, DSS, before it ruins his government. The group, in a statement by its chairman and board of trustees, Mohammed Danlami, expressed concern over what it called the constant refusal of the secret police under Yusuf Magaji Bichi's leadership to listen to the court orders. The group mentioned that the DSS had refused to obey court orders, and it has continued to keep the likes of Nnamdi Kanu, Godwin Emefiele, Abdurrashid Bawa, Aminu Yaro Dogara, and a few others in detention, even when the court has granted them bail. The group noted that the DSS is supposed to be a friend of the judiciary, working hand in hand to maintain law and order. But according to it, the contrary is what is obtained in this case. The group feared that and asked the president to consequently caution President Bola Tinubu to act now or to face a security situation even worse than that of his predecessor, former President Muhammadu Buhari. It said the DSS job is tedious, hectic, rough, and demanding, and therefore it requires a younger, more active, agile, and vibrant fellow to deliver. It urged President Bola Tinubu to, for a better Nigeria, and to keep the promise of renewed hope. It appealed to the president to sack Yusuf Magaji Bichi, the Director General of the DSS, and to overhaul the department because the DSS under him is nothing to write home about. In another development, the Colleges of Education and Academic Staff Union has directed its members to only go to work twice a week until the Nigerian government increases their salaries by 200%. The directive to the lecturers of colleges of education in the country came through a statement today, following an extraordinary meeting held on Tuesday. The statement issued by its national president, Dr. Sam Olugbeko, said it was agreed at the meeting that members should only go to work for 2 days weekly until the federal government yields to its demands of 200% increase in salary amidst the difficulty of members to get to work as a result of hike in the price of petrol. You will recall that fuel prices on Tuesday hit 617 naira and above per litre, from about 500 naira per litre that the removal of the fuel subsidy regime started with. The statement explained that the present salary of staff of colleges of education was approved in the year 2010, and the union has been on the same salary since that year, while petrol prices rose intermittently from 65 naira in 2010 to 650 naira in 2023, a 10-fold increase. You are currently listening to the World News at 6 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. After the break, we'll bring you stories on the foreign scene. Just stay with us. Welcome back. You're still listening to the World News at 6 and Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Now, on the foreign scene, Russian missile attacks on Ukraine's Black Sea coast have destroyed 60,000 tons of grain and damaged storage infrastructure, according to officials. Agriculture Minister Mykola Solskjaer said a considerable amount of export infrastructure was out of operation. Russia has pulled out of an international grain deal in place since last summer, guaranteeing safe passage for exports across the Black Sea. The Kremlin argued that its demand for Russian exports have not been honored. Within hours of its withdrawal from the grain deal on Monday, Russia had struck the southern port cities of Odessa and Mykolaiv in the early hours of Tuesday. It followed that up with more strikes overnight into Wednesday, targeting grain terminals and port infrastructure in the city of Odessa and further down the Black Sea coast in Chronomorsk, two of the three ports that were included in the export deal. The agriculture minister said the 60,000 tons destroyed in the strike were supposed to be loaded on a large tonnage ship and sent through the grain corridor 60 days ago. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said each missile strike was a blow not just to Ukraine, but to everyone in the world striving for a normal and safe life. France and Germany have also condemned the attack. Germany Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said that by covering Odessa with a hail of bombs, Russian President Vladimir Putin was robbing the world of any hope of Ukrainian grain and hitting the world's poorest. And that's it on the world news at 6. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that the SDP presidential candidate have said that it is too early to cry over the fuel price hike. You also heard that the Supreme Court judge has denied the alleged phone conversation between him and President Bola Tinubu over the election tribunal result. You heard that the group has said the DSS continuous disregard to court orders may ruin President Tinubu's administration, and the Colleges of Education Lecturers Union has directed its members to work 2 days a week over rising fuel prices. On the foreign scene, Russia strikes Ukraine grain after ending sea deal. And that's it on the world news at 6. My name is Ijeoma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. For coverage of a live event and brand news mentioned on our news bulletins, do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good evening and thank you for listening.